right, welcome. It's your boy, the D-Train, here on the ones and the twos. We're talking about The Crow, Salvation, The Crow, Wicked Prayer. Daniel Ehrenberg is my real name. I'm Jewish. I live in Brooklyn, New York. I'm probably more of a dom than a sub in bed, but I can switch. Okay? Here we have Henry Papali, my co-host, every week on the show. He's definitely a dom. And he's over there in New Jersey, saving lives every day, swimming in pools and beaches, and just generally walking around wearing good T-shirts. All right, Henry.
That's a lovely summation. However, I haven't swum in a pool or a beach in an extraordinarily long time. But yeah, it's nice to be here. We're H. Mobius strip over here.
Ooh.
I think I meant Mabius.
Oh, talking about Eric Mabius, great star of stage and screen. Here he is. He's our new Crow. Henry, can we just take a pause right now?
Sure.
How did we get here?
I don't know, man. Money, I guess, right?
No, but I mean, even just from last week, think about this.
Oh, it's an amazing swan dive.
It's 1994, all right?
Yeah, great point. Yeah.
We're talking about a genuine movie, a great movie.
Great movie.
Starring a man who literally gave his life to the pursuit of art.
Yep.
All right? And now...
Son of a master.
Son of a master and a master in training in his own right. Yeah. And I would say it's less than 10 years later, Henry, and these two movies we're covering today are just the bottom of the barrel, baby.
It's amazing. Yeah, we've done some obviously our listeners know we've done some we've covered a few movies here.
Have we?
And you know, every once in a while we'll see a dynamic shift in quality, and sometimes the quality, that's the whole point of our show, is to see how the franchises kind of play out. Sometimes it ain't so bad. Sometimes it fluctuates from up and down and up and down. And then there are some where the first one's there and then just plummeting like Orson Welles off Niagara Falls.
But it's yeah.
and we actually just did this kind of with Slapshot. But Dan brings
it's different. It's different.
Yeah, this is a 10-year span with quality people in some of the sequels.
That's the thing, is that it's the same studio. They're clearly not shitting these out. Like they're trying. City of Angels got a theatrical release. Salvation comes out in 2000, which we're going to cover today. It's got Kirsten Dunst first build the same year she's in Bring It On. And one year after fucking Virgin Suicides. Could you believe that?
I couldn't. I kept thinking of that the whole time.
I could think was she accepted this role. She'd already filmed Virgin Suicides, but it hadn't come out yet. That I had to justify it somehow.
Wait, she was a thing already.
Okay, but when Kirsten Dunst was younger, when Kirsten Dunst was younger, she wasn't really she was kind of a thing in that she was getting roles and shit, but like she wasn't considered like a prestige actor by any means. And I saw her in 15 and Pregnant, of course, on the Lifetime movie channel. Nice. A movie I will always remember watching because I was watching it with my sister, and my mother, who was split up with my dad at that point, came home during that movie with a boy that we'd never met before, and his daughter came in and immediately tried to make friends with me and my sister and was like, I've seen this movie, 15 and Pregnant, Kirsten Dunst is in it. Those were the first words she said to us. I'll always remember them, and my sister and I just snubbed the shit out of her.
That is a traumatizing experience.
Horrible.
On so many levels. God, dude, I don't know how you made it.
And I haven't, Henry. The real answer is I haven't. I struggle every day. Dunst.
But like, I'm thinking she'd already didn't she do Crazy Beautiful already?
No, that's next year.
Fine, but she had done Interview with the Vampire. She'd done Mother Night, which I know isn't a big movie, but it was.
But
with
those,
Nick
she's
Nolte.
a kid. She's trying to make the transition to teen roles at this point.
But my point is, I knew well about her before Spider-Man. Okay.
No. You'd have definitely heard. You definitely know Kirsten Dunst
Right?
when Virgin Suicides came out. But I think Virgin Suicides was the movie that legitimized Kirsten Dunst.
Okay, yeah.
And then Bring It On is the movie that made her a star.
Yeah, but still, this picking this direct to DVD project.
I don't think it was intended to be direct to DVD. And
I don't either.
That's a thing. That's a bullshit fucking thing that Dimension was doing at the time a lot. In the post-Scream days, when like horror became a thing again, and they were starting to develop video franchises, especially from Dusk Till Dawn, which was their first really big one, they were doing a fucking thing where they'd film movies, and it would be up in the air. They wouldn't be intended theatrical or video. It would be, we'll decide after.
Yeah,
you know?
Because honestly, with
they spent $10 million on Salvation.
Yeah, because with Salvation, it honestly does look like a real film.
No, it doesn't. It has direct-to-video production values, but I think a lot of that is post-production. They you watch like the opening credits, and it's like, what, you design this credit sequence on like a Mac? Just like a.
That's fair point. That's a fair point. But like, there are things like I got to pull it up, but isn't the music by like Marco Beltrami and shit?
Yeah,
like,
but Marco Beltrami was scoring literally every Dimension production at the time.
Working. He was trying to work. Yeah, but I thought it felt like it was. Well, maybe brings it down. Maybe
he brings it down.
Yeah, well, but like I mean, I know what you mean that but like I felt like, I guess coming off of City of Angels, I felt like, okay, this maybe could be. I mean, it's got Walton Goggins in it. I know they're all early. They're not.
Yeah, I mean, Goggins in particular is like, this is pre The Shield, although it's post Major League 3. And I was thinking that was like a big role he had in Major League 3. He was like the lead of that movie, kind of. And now here he is, like 2 years later, and he has like a few lines of dialogue in this.
I know, man. You got Fred Ward, you got William Atherton. I mean, my point is this: these are not minor people. I'm not saying they would be in a big budget movie.
I know, but they're not minor people. But it's like pretty minor people in big roles. Like, correct. William Atherton has such a big role in this movie, and the whole time I'm like, why? Why would you possibly do? And it's so funny because he's presented in the movie as Kirsten Dunst's dad. Like, that's all he is. And the whole movie I'm like, well, you hired William Atherton. There has to be a heel turn at some point.
Yeah, of course. I know.
And then there is one. There absolutely is one. And it makes Kirsten Dunst look dumb for believing. The whole time, the whole movie, Henry, I wanted to be like, Kirsten, it's true. This man has no dick.
I'm Walter Peck.
Yeah. All right. William Atherton, the best. My favorite William Atherton performance always has been as the head scientist in Biodome.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mine's just simply a tie between the reporter in Die Hard and Walter Peck in Ghostbusters.
I forgot he's in Die Hard.
Oh, it's incredible. Did you get that? When he gets punched in the camera and they're showing at the end of the movie. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. Of course I do. All right, so let's go through the stats a little bit, H-Dog.
By the way, it's episode 261. You can put an asterisk if you want, because it's probably 281.
Oh, my God.
Get it? 61?
Oh, I do get it. Yeah, that number often has an asterisk next to it. Pepper. All right.
It shouldn't for Maris. It should for McGuire and Sosa.
Oh, look at this motherfucker. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. All right. H. Bomb let's talk about it. The Crow Salvation. It was released January 23rd in the year 2000. God, millennial energy, post-millennial energy. Doesn't this movie kind of have it?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
In the soundtrack.
Everything
too.
in the late 90s, it was like, it was Hell Night. The city was on fire.
Yeah, well, decade turnings, we always have at the turn of any decade a little bit of uncomfortable, awkward filmmaking, and this is no exception.
Yeah, we're experiencing it right now, baby.
Yeah, we're doing, that's a good point. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're doing like 1998. I feel this movie is like a 1998 production. And
it might have been. Who knows? We don't.
Yeah,
it could have been made a couple years earlier. It came out in January 2000, so it was made at the very earliest, like 1999.
I don't recall ever being aware that this was out.
Oh, I was very aware.
Sure.
I've always wanted to watch these Crow movies, and I was never a straight-to-video guy. I just wasn't. Like, I always kind of wanted to watch those American Pies, too, and I just never did, because I don't really watch direct-to-video movies.
No.
But, you know what? It's sort of fun for the podcast, and will it surprise you to learn that I loved one of the two movies we're going to cover today?
Yes, it will. Especially since I liked one more than the other, but I thought they were both garbage. But in my rankings of the movies, there's no competition between 3 and 4, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, well, we'll get there. Salvation, Henry, was directed by a man by the name of Bharat Naluri. Are you familiar with him?
The British Indian filmmaker. No, I'm not.
He's still working. He did a lot of British TV after this. He directed that movie Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day.
I saw that he did that. I was like, oh, okay, well, that was a big movie, at least popular. I mean, it was, in theaters.
His most recent movie is The Man Who Invented Christmas, which I've heard of. That's Dan Stevens as Charles Dickens. It's about, like, Dickens during the writing of A Christmas Carol. Yeah.
I like Dan Stevens.
Oh, maybe watch that movie. The only thing I've ever seen that he's directed other than this is the pilot episode of the remake of the show Cupid. Okay, so Cupid was a show in the late 90s starring Jeremy Piven and Paula Marshall. Jeremy Piven played Cupid, who was like the real Cupid, and he was sent to Earth, and he had to make 100 couples find love before he was sent back to heaven or something.
That's great.
Yeah. So I watched that, of course. And then they remade it years later. It got canceled, and they remade it, Henry, with Bobby Cannavale in the Jeremy Piven role and Sarah Paulson in the Paula Marshall role. She was like a therapist who was like, I think you're just a guy who thinks you're Cupid. And he was like, no, I'm Bobby Cannavale. I gotta make 100 people fall in love. And that got canceled very quickly as well. So this guy directed that show.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So not a string of American successes.
I would argue no.
Nah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. We have a writer, I assume. We do, actually. This guy's well-known. Chip Johannesson. He's a TV writer of actually some note. He's never really created anything, but he's staff written for many shows. At the time, he was working on Millennium and the X-Files for Chris Carter. A lot of the writers would write for both shows. And he went on to... he did a lot of 24. He did a lot of Homeland. I think he wrote for the whole run of Homeland.
And he got Dexter in there, too.
Yeah, so he's a real Showtime guy, I guess.
Yeah. Did you watch Homeland?
I watched the first 2 seasons, Henry. Really enjoyed the first season, really didn't enjoy the second season, and then I never kept going.
I watched about the first 5 or 6 episodes of the first season. It was okay. It was good, but it was one of those shows where I was like, I could stop.
There's one episode where Claire Danes and Damian Lewis are fucking in a cabin in the first season, and I liked that episode.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
It's like the whole episode, it was a bottle episode. They're hanging out in a cabin, so you know I'm into it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. All right. What do we got?
Well, I mean, we got a lot. We can go into it, man.
I guess we can. So, did you know that this movie was originally going to be directed by Rob Zombie?
No, I did not.
Yeah, this is going to be he was scheduled to direct the third Crow movie. It was going to be his first feature film as a director, and it just sort of fell through the cracks, and he ended up making House of a Thousand Corpses instead. But of course, Living Dead Girl is in this movie, as it was in almost every movie.
Really? Oh, okay.
You didn't hear it?
Oh! I thought you were talking about a person.
No.
Fucking.
Listen to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Great stuff. Yeah,
What'd you think of the soundtrack in this one? Of course, in the first film, we've got such bands as Stone Temple Pilots.
Thing. Oh my god, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, okay, that's new. That's new. Where we've plummeted so far. Have we? I don't think we've ever dealt with that. Where the songs of the time are so good.
Right. Well,
And
it's
then
not. It's not that it's the songs of the time. It's that it's not like there was no good music at this time.
No, but I'm meaning that the choice of the songs and the quality of what was coming out in '94, you know, the choices to put in the movie were so amazing, and I mean, there's such vision and all that. So we've lost even that.
Yeah,
we're just in a fucking bingo grab bag of what's out in 2000.
Yes,
total.
Correct. The soundtrack was like one of the most crucial parts of the first movie. It helps to make the movie. People like Robert Smith wrote songs for that movie.
Big deal. And I have to say, the songs.
So wait, and a couple years. Sorry, let me. Can I just finish my thought? A couple years later, in 1996, it's a little more compromised. We're definitely focusing on people from like a record label that we have a deal with, but like it's still like mid 90s grunge, some good bands involved, and then I mean. The scene, The Crow, like, the scene like Eric Mabius wakes up or whatever, they're literally playing like a Days of a New song where it's like, yeah, I fucking hate my dad. He's a piece of shit. I'm sad every day. Cry hollow tears in a black hole, baby.
Maybe Rob Zombie should have directed it. It was perfect for...
Might have better music, actually.
Yeah. That's fucking funny. Yeah. Oh, it doesn't matter. I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm so
Continue.
sorry.
No, you were talking and I interrupted you, so it doesn't
No,
matter.
so
I
like
don't
what
go
we're
back to-
left with in this movie.
I know what I was gonna say. I know what I
Yeah,
was
go
gonna say.
ahead.
Sorry. I did think that, and I think this was one of the reasons. This definitely was one of the reasons. Now it's becoming clear to me. When I said to you that I thought it felt more like a real movie, was that there were moments, and they were few and far between, and then they disappeared altogether. But there were a few moments in the film where you could see Marco Beltrami starting to figure out his footing as a film composer, and I could hear like some really cool shit, and I was like, ooh. I was like, Marco Beltrami writing some
and then
good
they'd cut to
music
some
for
fart
Crow
rock.
Salvation. Yeah, but I was like, writing some good music for the Crow Salvation. Okay, and I was like, that makes it feel... It's amazing what a score can do in a shit movie. It's like, oh, this almost feels like it's got some life into it.
I actually thought the score was kind of good in the next one too.
The next one is such a
But where it's going with the soundtrack in the next one is wild because there are literally no songs in the fourth Crow movie until the closing credits, and that song was written by like the random composer, and there's a vocalist on the song, and I looked up who the vocalist is, and it's just the composer's wife.
Okay.
Like that's where we ended up. from
Yeah.
Big Empty by Stone Temple Pilots to like a failed film composer's wife.
Hey, honey, are you doing anything right now? Not really. You want to write something for the end of this thing I'm working on? Okay.
Now,
That's
as a feminist, I imagine it went like this. Would you like to write for this, honey? Well, I want to make sure it's artistically representative of. See, I think she had thoughts and feelings as a woman. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, I do not. I think she was in the kitchen, and he pulled her out and said, "Write me this song, and when you get over here, get me a Rolling Rock."
I mean, from the tone of the movie, I would sort of guess that, but
Where are they? Utah or some shit? I don't know.
something like that. Well, that was weird. What a weird movie. Anyway, Salvation. You've got. It opens on Eric Mabius in the electrical chair, which is kind of a bold opening.
Yeah, they. What I noticed right away, which shows you that, you know, despite Dan and I perhaps sometimes being desensitized to the shit we have to watch, I'm still invested in a certain way at looking at reality. And I'm looking at how they're treating this kid on death row. And, boy, the guard brings him a birthday cake and openly mocks him right before he's about to be executed. That's not how you treat a prisoner. No matter how
Listen,
much you hate him, you can't do that.
You don't know what's been leading up to this. This could be a Doug situation where he's an evil prison guard. And you'll recall he got very, very electrocuted in that scene. You know, he was freaking out and smoking to death and stuff. And I'm thinking,
You're talking about Green Mile?
yeah, I'm thinking this guy forgot to put the sponge on his head.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Totally occurred to me too. And I was looking at they put a helmet over the Mabius, and I'm like, they don't do that. Okay, I'm
Can we
like,
talk
all right.
about Mabius? Because he's
Yeah,
the
so-
lead of this movie.
Yeah,
He's
so-
the crow.
Yeah, so I need to know from you,
Mm-hmm.
because you made jokes about him last week, and I don't know who the fuck this guy is. So I looked him up, and then I was
Yeah.
like, okay, this is where Dan knows him, but the dude's been in a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So what is your situation with Mr. Mabius?
Okay, not a real actor. So
Okay.
he was plucked from obscurity. We talked when we did American Pie, I think we talked a lot about Chris Klein and how he was discovered in a Nebraska high school that Alexander Payne was shooting election at, and he was plucked from obscurity and put in that movie, and then it was sort of up to him to move to California and then try to be an actor, and it worked for a little while and then it didn't. Eric Mabius, same exact story, Henry.
Okay.
He was plucked from obscurity by Todd Solondz. As a teenager, and he's in Welcome to the Dollhouse. And then he moved to Hollywood and floundered around for a while. That's what he did. Like, he's in 3 scenes of Cruel Intentions as, like, a gay guy that gets blackmailed.
That's him?
Yeah. He's, I think he dies in the first Resident Evil movie. We talked about him in that.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed we covered him, but boy, did he not ring a bell.
He has a 4-episode arc at the beginning of the 3rd season of The OC where he's the new dean of the school and he gets Marissa expelled, but then they're able to reinstall Marissa into the school because they find out that he's having an affair with the student council president, Taylor Townsend.
Good to know. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Spoilers.
Of course, once Marissa died,
whoa.
Marissa died, her boyfriend Ryan ended up with Taylor Townsend. So what a tangled web we weave, Henry.
Not cool.
Well, I mean, it's not like Ryan killed her to get with Taylor. She died in a car crash because of Volchok. Everyone knows that.
And then the bottom dropped out.
Nice. So these days, Mabius is appearing in lots of like Lifetime Hallmark bullshit like that, you know?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's the story.
Yeah, that's the Mabius strip, and he's starring as our erstwhile Crow. He gets They ask him for his final words in the electric chair, and he's like, "I want everybody to know I loved Jodie Lynn O'Keefe. I really did.
Yeah.
The girl from She's All That is fucking hot as fuck. Taylor Vaughn. She was also in Halloween H2O. She was great in that."
Oh,
and
okay.
And I'm innocent, by the way.
Right
BT
after-
Dubs, I'm innocent. All right.
Everybody's watching. Some great inconsistencies in the glass mirror where everybody loves to us Americans. This is probably very hard for foreign cultures to understand, especially Europeans. We like to watch.
They do too.
They don't have the death penalty in most European countries, so no.
Really?
Yes.
God, we are just the
We're
worst
barbaric.
country. We're
Yeah.
the worst country in the world.
They haven't had the death penalty in some European countries for like a century. Yeah, yeah. So we like that here. It's a big deal, and so we like to watch the person. I don't know where this guy-
we make a little night of it. We get
It's
dressed
great.
and go to the theater.
Yeah, I mean they're very dressed up. Atherton's got a suit on. Kirsten Dunst's wearing a lovely black dress.
She looks beautiful, and when Eric Mabius says "I'm innocent," they cut to Kirsten Dunst, and she goes,
Yeah, she scoffs. She scoffs. And
"You
then
only
we see-
you only said scoffs because you had the subs on."
I didn't.
You did it because that's exactly what it said in that moment. It said she
No,
scoffs.
because I watched it oh, that's funny. I watched it on HBO on demand, and the only closed caption is the TV's closed
What
caption.
is up with this movie not being on HBO Max and the other 3 being on there?
Yeah, I know. It's very, very weird.
What
Plus,
the fuck?
HBO
Why?
Max, their subtitles suck anyway. I don't like their layout. I'm that guy now. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, Netflix has excellent
I know.
subtitles.
Netflix is the
what I'm talking
gold
about.
fucking standard of subtitles.
standard.
I
Gold
can't
standard.
believe everyone should just copy them. No one would complain. I have a feeling other companies aren't doing the Netflix subtitle thing because it's like they'll say we're copying Netflix. But I'm sorry, Netflix have mastered subtitles. Everyone else should just rip them off.
I agree. They're accurate. They're readable. They're placed perfectly.
They're
in sync with the-
unobtrusive. They're like the way they look like block letters on the screen. It's like you're watching just like a video game subtitle. It's fantastic.
Yeah, Hulu isn't bad. I've been watching The Handmaid's Tale. You know,
They're all right, and Apple Plus actually is good. I know you're not experienced with them, but they're all right with subs as well.
Yeah, but this had it just regular, so I had no subs.
You know who guys needs to get their act together? Peacock. What am I watching? A fucking VHS from 1992? What are these subtitles?
I tried watching something on Peacock. It's not. They have ads too, though, right?
Not my Peacock. I pay for the no ads, baby, because they've got all the WWE shit.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But yeah, so she scoffs. We like to watch him. They put like a wrestling helmet on him that looks like a character from wrestling, and then he gets electrocuted. And we cut to
There was
the
a wrestler
killer.
in the mid-aughts who was like a psycho. He like got out of a funny farm and
So we cut to this shot of the last thing Mabius sees is a spectator, watching through the glass, lifting his sleeve, showing Mabius that he's the killer with the scars, okay? And there's
gross
like
scars, mad grody scars on the arm.
And Mabius's last word is actually murderer, as everything. But now the funny part is that
It was sort of
killer-
like Hayden Christensen at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
yeah,
to Obi-Wan.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Murderer!
Oh, that's right. But the thing is that so let's cut to the chase. The killer's Fred Ward. And
Another case where it's like, really, Fred Ward's not the killer? She's fucking Fred Ward! His face is a shitheel.
I love fucking Fred Ward. He's fucking great. He's great. But my point is, I don't know if you remember this. I don't know why I do. When they cut to the killer, they show an arm that is wearing like this like kind of suede brown country leather jacket with like a white And I'm like, oh, all right. So the killer is some like hick or something. And then I'm like trying to put it together. I'm like, so Fred Ward was the killer. He went to the execution. That's understandable because he's a cop. He wasn't wearing his uniform. He was wearing like a suede brown leather jacket. I mean, it was like
He was there in street clothes. He just needed to see that guy die.
Yeah, but it's just so ridiculous. And
you know what's weird about the Fred Ward character too? Is even when Eric Mabius dies, like, he seems like he's aware that Eric Mabius might come back as the Crow. Like, he knows the mythology of the franchise he's in.
Dude, nobody in these movies at this point, from this point on, 3 and 4, are at all surprised when this happens.
Except for Edward Furlong.
Including the Crows themselves.
No, Edward Furlong was surprised. I think he expected that bullet to penetrate his heart.
We'll get there.
Please, let's get there.
Oh, God. All right, so I think we get some decent performances in this movie. There's an action. We got Walton Goggins, who's good in anything.
He's barely in this.
We have a franchise returning champion. And I didn't know it. I was like, did we cover this fucking guy? And we totally did. Dale Midkiff from Pet Sematary. The male lead. He's one of the bad cops.
Who's he in this?
Get a look at his face.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he's just like one of the bad cops. Yeah, so the movie... Ultimately, the movie is the Crow killing a shit ton of police officers, which I appreciate, as ACAB. But... Henry, that's my modern term you like.
Yeah, I had never. I mean, yeah.
Anyway, so you're right. I never would have recognized this guy, but he is. He's the fucking lead in Pet Sematary.
It was so funny because I was like, this guy looks like somebody who's like not only but he's like handsome, and I'm like, where have we seen this dude? And then I looked at it, I was like, oh fucking, he's the lead in fucking Pet Sematary.
Now we're
seeing
Pet
Sematary people because we got Furlong in the other one.
Oh, great point. Another weird actor in this movie is Grant Shode.
Yeah, but not show. I was like, so I looked at it as a French pronunciation off the bat. I look at it like that. So I was like, Grant Show? The guy walked around Hollywood with his name's Grant Show. And he's like, don't worry, I'm not that guy. And they're like, don't worry, we can tell.
First of all, if Grant Show was in this movie, I'd be genuinely excited because when we recently made our top 50 favorite actors list, I thought of Grant Show. I fucking love Grant Show.
Yeah.
But this is Grant Shod or something. Shode. And I don't think he's ever been in anything but Murphy Brown. He's just fucking Miles from Murphy Brown. I wanted to be like, hey, where's fucking Faith Ford, dude?
I don't know. I never watched Murphy.
Well, Miles was the nerd. He wore suspenders and red horn-rimmed glasses, and he would talk like this. You know, everyone make fun of him. But then they made Faith Ford his love interest, of course. You know Faith Ford from Hope and Gloria.
Okay.
With Kelly Ripa, of course.
Well, he's not too nerdy in this.
He's pretty nerdy in this. It's funny he's not wearing glasses, so like they.
Oh wait, is he the lawyer?
He gets killed. Yeah.
It's the friend lawyer.
Yeah, okay. He gets killed in that office. Yeah. There's a lot of threads in this movie, but basically the main thing is that Kirsten Dunst was Taylor Vaughn from She's All That's sister, and this guy, Mabius, has been put to death for killing her. And Mabius wants to say, no, actually, She's All That was the love of my life. And I want to prove that to you because I'm going to come back from the death, kill all her killers, and show you that I'm not that bad after all. I don't know why, but, you know, maybe we'll meet in the afterlife someday.
And it turns out that William Atherton made a deal with Fred Ward and his cops to, like, I don't know, fucking launder money or whatever thing, but with the extremely unsuspicious name for a company called DERT. Dirt.
And his name is Corvin or something. All the names in these movies have to do with crows.
Yeah. Oh, right. It's almost like an anagram.
Furlong, and the next one is Jimmy Cuervo, and Cuervo is Spanish for crow.
That's great stuff. Yeah, it's really good.
Smart writing.
Very smart writing. And then it turns out at the end, Fred Ward is the one who actually. Even though all the guys apparently stabbed her, he stabbed her a lot. He's some kind of sick cop taxidermist.
Yeah, it was like a Murder on the Orient Express situation.
Yeah. And he's like a taxidermist. He goes to the back, and like the previous Crow movies, he's also got some mystical mistress who is inexplicable in this movie completely.
What are you talking about?
This blonde, like, whisperer who just seems to hang around the literal chief of police in wide public view. It's so fucking weird.
Oh, that blonde lady?
It's like, so he's also got a mystic with him, but then they like open a back door and he's got like this taxidermy thing going on. I mean, where are they? What? This is an extraordinarily confused movie.
Yeah.
And maybe, as we should note, he gets his makeup in a different way.
Well, it's not really makeup in this one. His death is actually pretty baller. They burn him alive. And
great Cronenberg-esque makeup for a burnt face. Little did I know, when you burn your face that badly, all you do is peel it off and you're good to go.
Yeah, but you peel it off in a pattern, and then you've got like a fun little mask. That's some That's some death pro tips.
Yeah, right. It's not. It doesn't take away a layer of skin. It added a layer of skin to him that he could then remove and be like, "Look at me, I'm back,
and I'm the Crow now." He's a less sullen Crow than other crows. He's snarking quite a bit. I feel like there were some scenes where he's the Crow where they were literally trying, like, shot for shot to make him like Brandon Lee. There's like one scene where he's like got his arm over someone's neck, he's like holding them against a wall like that, and it was like, Brandon Lee did this.
Yeah. I do think he is a step up from Vincent from the prior movie.
I think he's really lame as the Crow. Like, I think Vincent Perez was just more imposing, I guess, as like a figure, whereas like Eric Mabius doesn't look to me like he could beat me up.
Well, I agree, but I think he's just better than. I mean, that guy was.
No, he's got more charisma. He holds the screen better. When he's given a joke, he knows how to deliver a joke. Yeah. So, I'm not gonna say like Eric Mabius is a total loss or anything, but it's not. I just think he's lame. Like, anytime he tried to say something that was supposed to be badass, I was like, that was lame.
Right? No, he's my LVP. I'm not gonna don't get me wrong.
Mabius is your LVP.
Yeah.
I guess there are so many good character actors. I was just looking through the cast, and I forgot Tim DeKay was in this movie. The great Tim DeKay, a.k.a. Bizarro Jerry from Seinfeld.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, wow.
He was also in HBO's Tell Me You Love Me, so I've probably seen his dick at some point.
Oh, that was a great show.
Great show. A lot of dicks.
Well, there were also breasts, too.
And vaginas. Well, I think Tim DeKay was the one in the older couple who was, you remember, it was like the married couple who was like not having sex, and they were like trying to get back. And then there was that one episode where at the end of the episode, his wife goes to the bathroom and masturbates to the song "My List" by the Killers. It's an incredible scene.
Yeah. That was a show like Party Down that Dan got me into. I would have never known about it, and I've never been able to get anyone into that show, even check it out. I think "Tell Me You Love Me" sort of it's not for everyone, but it's fucking great.
It's for smart perverts, baby. Get on it. No, I think it's on HBO Max now. That's a good one season, 10 episodes only recommendation.
Knock it out.
Some of the actors have gone on to bigger and better things, like Adam Scott and Penny from Lost. Yeah. Odette Annable, I think she's somebody.
All right.
Okay. Anyway, it kind of goes on like that. Do you have anything?
It's not much to say. I mean, it's. Oh, I mean,
there's a few twists, but they're all the twists you expect. William Atherton turns out to be evil. Fucking.
But I mean, evil, but he's not fleshed out enough, and like, because he could be like, because he never intended for his daughter to die, but he gets entangled in Fred Ward.
Fred Ward's the real heel of the movie.
Right. Kirsten Dunst she does her best. She's got some unfortunate scenes where they ask her to cry, and she hadn't mastered that art yet.
I think she's fine in this movie. It's just such a bad script.
No, she is fine. But yeah, I mean, it's just not. It's not good. So
there's no there there.
Oh, no, exactly. They put Fred Ward in the electric chair. He's unrepentant, and then they let him. Kirsten Dunst flips the switch, so we get to see him get fried.
And
so
he
that's
says,
exciting.
"I'll be back too." Like Fred Ward thinks nobody dies. Like before the Crow even comes back to life, Fred Ward is like telling his fellow police officers, like, it's not unheard of for a dead man to come back to life. And if I was one of those police officers, I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Have you been through this? Maybe he was in Detroit 6 years prior.
This is a recast Ernie Hudson.
He was a beat cop. He was like just in the streets, and he was like in the locker room, and he heard his buddies talking. They're like, you know what, man? Watch out.
I once cleaned up a crime scene, a dead boy named Fun Boy. And he
got on the take, and then 6 years later, he became chief of police in another town, and now he knows about resurrection and taxidermy.
He's very aware of it. And then when he's dying, he's like, well, I'm going to be the next Crow. He's like setting up the sequel, and they're like, no, you're a bad guy. This is literally the conversation they're having. You're not only good guys come back to life. You're a bad boy. And he's like, oh, and then he dies.
Yeah, and they didn't use the sponge again.
So. I know, no, definitely not.
Jesus.
All the death penalty deaths in this movie look monstrous. I'd
love to say it's an anti-death penalty movie, but it's totally not. It doesn't.
I think it's a pro-death penalty movie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, at the end of the movie, they're literally like, "Let's solve this. We got the death penalty wrong the first time. Let's do it right now."
Kirsten Dunst relishing turning up the switch. Great stuff. Good stuff.
My favorite scene in the movie, I have to say, is the scene where there was that drunk girl who's passed out in the front seat of the car, and her friend who doesn't have a license is driving her home, and they're pulled over by a cop.
Yeah.
And the cop is like, he like figures out the situation, and then he's like, all right, alive girl, get out of the car. I'm going to rape your drunk friend.
Yeah, totally. I thought a Bad Lieutenant immediately.
Yeah.
I was like,
he starts to like feel up her inner thigh and shit. And then all of a sudden, fucking Mabius pops in. Oh, by the way, also, I need to talk about the music that was playing during that scene because it's a band that I really love. They're this band called The Flies, and they they were a grunge band in the late 90s, and they gained popularity through the movie Disturbing Behavior, which had one of their songs in it. Okay. That was a single on the soundtrack. And so they're on this soundtrack as well. And the thing you have to know about The Flies is they're a grunge band from the late 90s. So 2/3 of the way through every song, they had a horrible rapper who would pipe in and just go, yo, what up? We the Flies and we're ready to rap. We're gonna take this in and we're gonna get the tap. And we're gonna fuck you up because we the fucking Flies. They would always say the name of the band like 3 times. And
Sounds good.
But so in this movie, they're playing a grunge part of a Flies song. And I'm like, God, this is a good one. And I didn't recognize it. And I was like, I'm going to download this shit. And then they get up to the rap part in the movie. Like, while the fucking police officer is... It's supposed to be, like, the most tense part of the scene. And then in the background, you're just hearing, yo, we the Flies! I lost my fucking shit. It was the funniest part of the movie.
The only part of that music in the scene I recall is the rap. That's all I remember.
Well, if you're listening before that, there's some heavy riffage, baby.
Sure. By the way, before we close out this movie, we should say there was a porn star in this movie.
Was there? I didn't recognize one.
Neither did I, but of course I did superhero count for our friend.
Oh, Kyle Pete. We didn't even bring up this is still Pete with the Crow franchise.
So there is a stripper in this movie, as there are in several Crow sequels, and she goes by the name No Name Jane.
I'm sorry, I just gotta say, P-Dot's gotta find out if that rap guy is still with the Flies. If he could join that band as their rapper, that might be a career outlet for P-Dot.
Oh, is he rap?
He's a rapper. He like rap. You know, you could look at his stuff on SoundCloud, and
Really?
and on a podcast called A Flock of Sequels, I think.
Okay.
Which has the same premise as our podcast.
I don't care for that.
Yeah, I don't care for that either. Don't listen to that podcast. But anyway,
No Name Jane.
The Flies. Go ahead. No Name Jane.
No Name Jane. She used the stage name Violet Blue, and she makes an appearance in this movie.
I don't know her.
Yeah. She's got a Wikipedia page and everything, and
her porn name was Violet Blue.
Well, she had other porn names: Ada, Jane, Violet, Violet Blue, Violet Heat, Violetta Blue, and Violet Lust.
I gotta be honest, one or two of those sounded familiar to me.
Yeah, because I did the superhero account before I watched the movie, so I knew what she looked like. So then when she popped up, I was like, oh, there's the porn star. And it's actually a scene where I think where Moebius sees her in the strip club and he grabs her and he says, change your life. You don't have to do this.
Oh my God, yeah, that's right. Which I found so offensive. They're trying to do a thing in that scene that's like the thing in the first movie where he rescues the little girl's mom, right? And like squeezes the heroin out of her arm. But in this movie, it's just a scene in a fucking strip club and he goes up to the stripper and says, change your life. And this is just like, sex workers are people too. She's probably making a good living. She's doing fine. Like what? It didn't look like it was a rundown club. It looked like a fucking Scores or something.
It would be great if she was like, Mr. Crow, I'm actually in a union. I have benefits.
Change your life. You're running around with weird burns on your face in the middle of the night.
At least get paid for it. Become a bounty hunter, sir. And please, I'm in the middle of Pour Some Sugar on Me. Can I continue?
Hey, this No Name Jane's pretty cute, I gotta say.
All right, that's the end of that movie because we gotta move on here.
Was that the only superhero count?
No, I didn't do the superhero count yet. I'm just saying, are we done with the movie?
Oh yeah, I'm done. Yeah, let's. I'm sorry. I'm on No Name Jane's Wikipedia page, and you know how like they source all the photos on Wikipedia pages. Under this one, it says, Jane on the set of Bang My White Tight Ass 17 in December 2004. Very enjoyable. Henry, go on.
How did I miss that? I was on her Wikipedia page.
Incredible. What do you give this movie?
Goodness. By the way, Bang My White Ass.
Tight White Ass.
The fifth one is the best one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 5. Check out 5.
Ah, noted. That's a good franchise, Henry. We could get on that next. I have to make my pick for next week.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And I forgot to think about that, so...
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it all weekend. I was like, what's he going to pick? What's he going to pick? And you didn't even think about it. Okay.
I had an idea. If I could think... I hope I could think of it before the episode ends.
All right, we can take a pause and then edit.
Yeah. Back. What do you give this, Henry?
I'm giving this 1.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Me too.
I mean, it's almost a 2. It was...
No, it was... This was a 1.
It was watchable much more so than the second one.
No.
But it's a 1. Oh, I found it more watchable in the second one. Anyway, it's a 1-star. My MVP is I wanted to pick Kirsten Dunst, but I just felt too bad for her. So, Fred Ward.
No, Dunst is the MVP of the film, of course.
I like seeing Fred Ward and everything.
Yeah, me too. Who's your LVP?
Obvious.
I'm just gonna go with.
You can't get a good crow, dude. You can't get it. There's just no good crows, man.
There really aren't. There's like no one's good after Brandon Lee.
No.
You know, I was thinking about why they didn't just make Kirsten Dunst the Crow.
I did too. I was like, "There's your movie."
Yeah.
Fuck.
She's like the actual like it would be interesting to see because we've already seen like the boyfriend getting revenge. Like it would be interesting to see a sister getting revenge for her dead sister.
Oh my god! And the Crow superhero is completely malleable, where it could be a woman. It would be great. It would
It's actually crazy that they did 4 of these fucking things and never thought to do that.
It's absurd. It's absurd.
It's fucking. You know what it is? It's Miramax Dimension.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably the least feminist company in the history of film.
Now, yeah.
I don't think the company culture there allowed for strong female leads so much.
So, for MVP is Kirsten. Who's your LVP?
I'm going to go with William Atherton.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. I just think miscast.
Because he's not all bad?
Yeah. William Atherton should only play coked out assholes.
Oh, good. That's funny. All right. Oh, shit. I had it up, and then I realized I got to do this first. That's okay, though. We're getting there. We're ready.
Could you believe that neither of these movies were nominated for any awards, Henry?
I thought maybe we'd get some Razzies, but we didn't. Here we go. Okay, so first off, we have, of course, Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, right. Mary Jane.
Mary Jane Watson in all the Spider-Man movies. That's all she's got superhero-wise. William Atherton was Dr. Destiny in Justice League 2003 TV series. I actually think I know Dr. Destiny. Wasn't he in Arkham Asylum, the famous...
You know, he was in the first arc of Sandman.
Okay, so he's like but is he primarily a Batman villain?
I think he's just like one of these mystical... I think he's mostly a Justice League guy. Like, he fucks with them.
He's in Arkham Asylum, right?
He probably is. I don't remember.
Yeah, great comic. But anyway. Grant Shoud.
I don't count Murphy Brown as a superhero movie.
I'm not. I'm counting Murder, She Wrote.
Is he on that too?
Yeah. No, he was in Lois and Clark, of course, and he played the Toy Man.
Oh, that's a real villain. Sure.
Yeah. And he has they don't say what character, but he was also on Batman the Animated Series.
All right, probably as a nerd.
Yeah, probably. All right, Bill Mondi played in this movie.
He was the first cop to die. I remember that.
Good call.
Yeah.
Jesus. All right. He was in Smallville playing 2 characters, James Beals and Dr. Edward Grohl, on 4 different consecutive years separated by a decade. Wow.
Is Grohl spelled like Nirvana?
No.
Okay.
Double L.
Gotcha.
Fair question. He was also Detective Brian Boone in 2006 Blade, the TV show.
With sticky fingers, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that didn't work out too.
You know, there's a Crow TV show too. We should have mentioned that.
Yeah,
like it happened in between The City of Angels and Salvation. It aired in 1998 in Canada. it was a Canadian like CBC TV show, but it ran a full season of 22 episodes, and it like had an arc. I think they were like planning to do a movie of it, like to wrap it up after it got canceled, and they never did it.
Okay.
I don't know anything about it. If anyone's seen it, let me know if it's watchable.
We have several Canadian listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Walton Goggins, of course, I always forget this, but he's plays Sonny Birch in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Who? Oh, Goggins. Right, that's right, yeah.
I always forget that. Tim DeKay was in... Oh, yeah, right, big one. Senator Christian Ward in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Wow. You have Mabius there?
Nope.
What are you talking about? He's in a superhero movie.
What's that?
Minus Man.
With Owen Wilson?
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
I know.
Fred Ward. I love this. This is what I want when I do the superhero counts. This is what I wait for because it's inevitable. Fred Ward. Take a guess. He's been acting forever. What would he be in early in his
17 things. I'm sure he was in an episode.
Only one thing. Only one, but it's...
I'm going to say fucking Batman. I bet it goes back that far.
Oh, not that far.
What, Hulk?
Yes.
All right.
He played a character named Marvin. He was a henchman in The Incredible Hulk. I'm loving it. That's all I got for that one. All right, moving on.
I'm loving it. Snuck in a little McDonald's plug.
I didn't mean to do that, but, hey, I still eat there occasionally.
Really? I haven't eaten there in probably over 10 years.
Good for you. Yeah.
The last time I ate there was like a McRib situation. Like, it was back, and I was like, I guess I got to get it.
Yeah, not often. It's more of a desperation move. If I'm working like a weird hour at my job and I gotta like get something and I'm trying to find and I'm like driving around aimlessly.
Subway is my go-to for that shit.
For that, yeah. And I'm just like, fine, McDonald's, all right. I don't get excited about it though.
Never? You not that first bite of the Big Mac?
No, and I even used to in New York. I would still be like, oh, a double cheeseburger, Big Mac. Okay, yeah, this will be great for lunch. And I don't have it anymore.
What's your go-to drink at McDonald's? Wine punch?
No, Diet Coke now.
Oh, just straight up. All right. Yeah. Let's talk about, can we move on?
Please.
Okay, yes. Great. The Crow. Wicked fucking prayer, baby. The best movie of 2005. Let's talk about it. This came out June 3rd, 2005. I think it was filmed in 2003, and it remained on the shelf.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We have here a new director, of course. Oh, and the budget was... I don't have that information right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it ain't here either. Okay.
Yeah.
A bit of a Robert Rodriguez thing going on here.
Well, I have a theory about that, Henry.
Yeah, let's hear it. I want to hear it from the opening credits to Danny.
Yeah, so The Crow Wicked Prayer opens on that, like, southern rock and roll guitar, like, very Sergio Leone, like, fake Sergio Leone. It feels unmistakably, I think, like Robert Rodriguez.
Really does. We both thought it. All right, there you go, folks.
Yeah. And my thought about this was that Dimension was so weird at the time. And like I said, they didn't always know whether things were going to come out in theaters and whether things were going to come out on video. Is it out of the realm of possibility that they made this movie thinking it could either come out as a Crow sequel or a From Dusk Till Dawn sequel?
Oh, wow. Wow. Now, this would have to be...
I think you could... I don't even think you'd have to change the script. I think you could go into the editing room with this movie and make it a From Dusk Till Dawn movie.
But you'd have to take Furlong sort of...
I think you'd have to cut down his role. I think he could still be there.
Wow, interesting. I thought you were going to say something else. I thought you were going to say in like pre-production they were all prepared to have Rob Rowe come in and be the director, and then he like pulled out
No,
And-
definitely. By The Crow 4, Robert Rodriguez is not deigning these films with his to show
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, good point. But yeah, boy, it really. Well, you could be right, man. Who knows? I mean, we got Satan worshipers. We got semi-big names. We got Dennis Hopper. We got. I mean, in 2005, I wouldn't say Edward Furlong was a big name, but
Henry,
your boy Dave Boreanaz. How do you say his name?
Boreanaz.
Boreanaz. Yeah.
I have something very important to say about David Boreanaz.
Go ahead.
I've been watching David Boreanaz on television non-stop since I was 11 years old. Okay?
Yeah.
He was on Buffy. He left Buffy after the 3rd season to launch the spin-off Angel, which ran for 5 seasons. When that ended, he started on Bones. The very next season, there's no break between Angel and Bones. He starts on Bones. That show ran for 12 seasons. Henry, I watched every episode of Bones for over a decade of my life. Then the second Bones went off the air, he started on this show SEAL Team. I watch every episode of that. That's going into its 5th season now. I genuinely want to put a bid in for David Boreanaz as the most successful dramatic actor in television history.
Wow.
Because, like, the most successful comedic actor, you have to say, is, like, Bob Newhart or Dick Van Dyke or Mary Tyler Moore or something like that, right? Or Ted Danson.
Seinfeld.
No, but he had one show. I'm saying, like, longevity.
Oh.
Ted Danson had Cheers into
multiple things.
Becker into
Right.
The Good Place into
Sure.
Mr. Mayor. And David Boreanaz. Another thing about that's confusing to me is watching this movie, I genuinely can't tell if he's giving a good performance or a bad performance.
Yeah.
I've just watched him for so long that it's a David Boreanaz performance. Like, I know what it's meant to look like. All the ticks are there.
I haven't been and I'll just say right now, he's my MVP.
He's your MVP. Oh my God. Okay.
I mean, he's my MVP. That's interesting. Yeah. Well, you might be right. I mean, it's extraordinarily impressive now that you're rattling off the resume and the longevity. I mean, that's not easy to pull off, right?
Right. He's been on network television without pause. Successful network television without pause.
Yeah.
He's never had a show. The shortest one is 5 seasons. And he's been on since 1997, no pauses.
And he kind of, I might be wrong, so correct me, but he seems like he is totally smart about. It feels like he stayed in the realm of television without really ever trying to be in movies.
I don't think he has much interest in acting.
Yeah, right. In acting at all?
I just think it's a job to him.
Yeah.
Like, I once ran into that guy from House in Barnes & Noble. I helped
guy?
that. What?
The main guy?
No, not House, but like his best friend on House, who's in like a lot of indie movies in the 90s. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I'll have to check him out.
Can you please just look up House and tell me who like the second billed male actor is? Robert Sean Leonard. I found it already.
Oh, yeah, Robert Sean Leonard. Sure. He's a movie actor. Yeah.
So right. I helped Robert Sean Leonard at Barnes & Noble once, and cool. I asked him about House, and I said something like, I wish you were on the show more. Like, I love your character. I wish you had more screen time. And he responded, no, I don't. Like, it's the best job I've ever had. I go to work like 3 days a week. I love That's my funny. Character. Like, all my scenes are with fucking Hugh Laurie. Like, it's awesome.
He said that?
Yeah. He said, I don't want to work more. I don't want to be the lead of a show.
That's very funny. That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing to say. And he must have been a nice dude to
He was really nice guy, yeah. David Boreanaz, I think, is just like a working man's actor. He's done a couple of movies. Like, he was in this and the horror movie Valentine during like the Scream craze.
Okay.
But other than that, he's mostly just done these 5 TV shows. Like, you look at his IMDb page, and he has remarkably few credits for somebody who's been acting as long as he has.
Sure. Yeah.
And I also think he's kind of like a weird dude. Like, he directs a lot on his shows, and they tend to be the quirkier, weirder episodes.
All right.
And so I think like he's just like he uses his TV shows as his creative outlet, and that's like all he needs. He's a really interesting guy.
It sounds interesting, man. That's very cool. Yeah.
But he's a very ticky actor. It's not immediately apparent when you see him on Buffy because he's like brooding and like he's I'm a vampire. Like it's a trope he's playing. But then as his career went on and he started playing like more normal dudes, like I see him almost as like a Crispin Glover type who's like unpredictable. Like I never know what his line deliveries are going to be. They're always kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, I know. I mean, I had an impression during this that he's very self-aware.
The whole movie seemed self-aware to me.
Yeah, but I mean, he is very self-aware too, like of how fucking ludicrous this role is, and he's having fun doing it. But I also could tell, which was kind of cool and relates a bit to what you're saying. This was my own takeaway, that some of his more absurd lines he knows are absurd, and so he just like says them. He'll change gears. He'll like sometimes he'll say his lines with relish and like, oh, this is fun because it's so stupid, and then other times it feels like he's just saying it like, all right, this is my line, it's so dumb, so I'm just gonna
he tosses it out.
Yeah, and it always seems to work. I mean, that's why he's my MVP, because he's like, first of all, he's a good villain.
Well, he's playing a Satanist. Like, the movie's impossible to follow. I couldn't follow it. I'm not going to talk about the plot at all because I never knew what was happening in the entire movie. Okay?
He's trying to literally become the devil.
Yeah, I know.
Tara Reid is
yeah, Tara Reid's his girlfriend. I really think they were trying to go for a Joker Harley Quinn dynamic between the two of them.
Right, but I gotta say, dude, I even felt bad about this because I personally think in this movie, two of the worst performances are Dennis Hopper and Edward Furlong, but Tara Reid.
It's not a performance.
She is so bad.
It's like she's being molested. It's like watching a director trying to get her to act in a movie. It's like watching a sober guy trying to get a drunk girl to fuck him.
It's so bad. She's so bad, and I'm just like, I mean, there's like two instances where she like almost looks at the camera.
I noticed one of them.
Yeah. Like
it's almost like there are scenes with her where like they did not have the take. They never got the take.
Right.
And they like had to edit in what they had. I assume since this was like mid-aughts Tara Reid, she was showing up to set late I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what she was up to.
It was 2003. I mean, she didn't even she didn't show up for American Wedding, right? She like that's the same year.
Oh, right. She ain't in that. Yeah.
And so she did this movie. I got to assume she would rather have been doing American Wedding. So I don't think she was allowed to do American Wedding.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe they didn't want to deal with her. I mean, we've covered her before, and I just never. No, I mean, holy shit.
When she was younger, she was just like a generic, mediocre, hot, young girl actor. And as she got...
She could deliver a line, though. I mean...
That's what I'm saying. I'm not, like, mediocre. I'm not saying bad.
Right.
Something turned, you know, and I assume it has to do with addiction. And
Yeah. I mean, she's awful.
And she's still this bad, Henry. Like, she's in those fucking Sharknado movies. And, like, you watch Ian Ziering in those movies, and he understands the movies he's in, and he's trying to give a Sharknado performance, and you watch Tara Reid, and it's like a brain dead person just bumbling around on screen. Even her makeup looks bad in those movies.
Yeah, poor thing. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was rough.
I never talked about the filmmakers behind this masterpiece.
Go ahead.
We have new director Lance Mungia.
Boy, we really get some cool names.
He's a nobody, but he was music video director, and I think it's so funny that like in the first movie we went with Alex Proyas, right? The guy who directed the video for like, you know, the songs from The Cure's Disintegration album. He directed Love Song. And now this director, his most famous work before The Crow Wicked Prayer is that song. She's so high above me. She's so lovely.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, and Aphrodite. Yeah. Classic. Tal Bachman.
Ugh. I hate music.
I know. So he's our director, and our writer is also him, along with two other guys, Jeff Most and Sean Hood. Sean Hood was sort of a thing at the time. I don't remember why. He directed Halloween. Oh, he wrote Halloween Resurrection, which we covered.
Okay, and Cursed, that movie with...
he did not write that.
Rewrites.
Oh, well.
Rewrites.
There were a lot of rewrites on that movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's who we're dealing with. He also directed the Brett Ratner Conan the Barbarian movie.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, with what's his face, that fucking
Momoa.
dork from Game of Thrones. Yeah, Momoa.
Oh.
Booyah.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Brett Ratner directed that Conan the Barbarian?
I'm pretty sure. That's off the dome, but I'm pretty sure.
You're probably right. I just did. No. Marcus Nispel, who we've covered.
Really?
Before, I think. German guy.
God, I was pretty sure about that.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't have shocked me. I just was like, I thought I would have heard that. We've covered Marcus Nispel, haven't we?
Yeah, he did. What am I thinking that Brett Ratner directed? He did something like... He definitely did like a Sword and Sandals film like that.
I'm sure he did, yeah. Oh, Marcus Nispel, we've covered twice. Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the remake of Friday the 13th, which we loved.
Yeah. Oh, Ratner directed the Hercules movie with The Rock.
There you go. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
that checks out.
All right.
I should maybe watch that. Anyway.
Speaking of people we met and that weren't nice.
Who? Oh, Brett Ratner. What an asshole, yeah. So,
well, it's nice to me.
Well, you said something nice to him. Fuck off. So, the dismissive wave of the hand to me, remember?
Oh, of course.
Oh, Henry. Anyway, this movie, I was down on it at the start. Okay?
Down like I'm down.
No, I was not into it.
Okay, yeah.
Because it starts with one of my least favorite dramatic tropes, Native American mysticism.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm. I don't abide it. I find it boring. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it's your culture. All right. So they're dealing, it's like a native reservation, and there seems to be like some infighting on there, and I'm like, who could fucking care? But then they're setting up this like love story between, it's like a star-crossed love affair between Edward Furlong, who's a white, and
he's a white,
and Emmanuel Shrieky, who is a native.
Yes.
Now, I, of course, know her primarily from her role as the main female love interest in On the Line, starring Lance Bass and Joey Fatone from NSYNC.
Nice.
Yeah. I believe she also was the girl who ended up with Vinny Chase on Entourage.
Okay.
All right.
That sounds great. Yeah, I felt like I recognized her name, but I didn't.
I think we covered her once because I kind of remember talking about On the Line with Lance Bass and Joey Fatone on the show once.
Right. We did. Maybe we did. Yeah. You know, the movie is also very poor at delineating geography in the movie. Like, I could never figure out.
Impossible to tell.
Yeah, like, where is this demarcated line between the reservation and the whites? I could not tell. It seemed like they intermingled all the time, and there is no, like, town. There's literally, like, a hut, a church,
They're
and a
shooting
mobile
it. They're
home.
shooting in the desert of fucking Utah, and they're shooting with what they have. I mean, it's like I said, I believe this movie's impossible to follow. I think you would really have to sit down and parse out every scene to get the full plot of this movie.
Yeah,
like
it was.
I gave up so early, because like we're getting introduced to all of these bad guy characters that we're told are a Satanist cult, but they all have names that are based on the deadly plagues. So one of them's pestilence, and one of them's war, and one of them's famine, and David Boreanaz is death. And this satanic cult, I think they're supposed to be. I think Boreanaz is supposed to be a Native American character in this movie.
I don't think so.
Well,
but I know. I don't think so. I mean, I don't know, because even his henchmen are like, he refers to some, like, he's like, when they're like having second thoughts or whatever, he's like telling each one of them who looks, one looks Hispanic,
they're a diverse crew. Yeah, there's a Latino fella, there's an Asian guy.
Yeah, and he's like, remember what happened to your people? And it's like, I could never tell if Boreanaz was on the side of the Indians or the side of the miners, because of things he would say that would be like, this is what they did to your people, and then he'd be like, this is who they're going to drive out our miners. And I'm like, well, whose side are you fighting for, the miners or the Indians? Or I don't even understand.
It's such a complicated movie, and ultimately it just comes down to Indians versus Satanists.
Pretty much.
And that's all we needed to be told, all right? The Native Americans are led by Danny Trejo, who I think is used totally wrong in this movie.
Yeah, I know. He's like a priest that's a good, non-violent priest.
Danny Trejo will tell you himself that people hire him for his face, not his acting ability.
Yep.
So when the first scene we see Danny Trejo in, he's asked to break down crying at the state of his tribe. I'm like, really? That's how we're going to see Danny Trejo try to do a crying scene? Why would you ever write that in?
So bad.
And he's like never badass the entire movie. The whole movie's just emoting all over the place.
Yeah, and then he did a crow dance at the end, which was demeaning. And he's not even Indian. I mean, I was just like,
I know. Nobody in this movie is. You know, usually when you get movies like this that take place on Native American reservations, you'll see names in the credits like Floyd Red Crow Bennett.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they at least try. They don't give a fuck here. They don't give a fuck. And we have a Japanese guy as part of the crew.
Yeah.
I mean, I was, what? In Utah? All right.
Well,
and there's no Mormons.
yeah, I thought there'd be Mormons in the movie. I was surprised there weren't. I've been meaning to watch that Murder Among the Mormons on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. It looked a little too tabloidy for me, but it might be good. Who knows?
I think I like tabloidy.
Yeah. It might be good. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about why I loved this movie.
Uh-oh.
The thing I love about The Crow Wicked Prayer is that it has a genuine energy to it, a genuine insanity to it. It's completely unpredictable. I never knew it was happening. The whole movie is just an excuse for fun actors to say stupid shit.
Yeah.
And I like watching fun actors say stupid shit. Dennis Hopper calls like a million people Homie G. He refers to Tara Reid as Shorty like 100 times.
I knew you'd love that scene.
I fucking loved that scene. I loved Dennis Hopper in this movie. It's such a lazy performance. He was definitely there for 3 hours, and they just told him he can deliver the lines however he wants, and he delivered them stupidly like this. And
I had the same
great,
thought.
fucking awesome, love it.
Right.
David Boreanaz is off the goddamn wall in this movie. It's such a wild performance. Tara Reid is a mess. She's so much fun to watch, just dying on the vine. Eddie Furlong is playing this role. You know, he's asked to be sort of like gothy and want revenge and shit. But because he's Eddie Furlong and he's never grown past who he was when he was cast in Terminator 2, he still plays it like it's just The Crow as John Connor.
Yeah,
it's insane. He plays it like a fucking angry 14-year-old.
Yeah, it's very, very true. He also, I mean, this is be up for debate, I'm sure, but he has the dumbest incarnation costume of the Crow.
Easily.
His hair, oh my God.
But I hated it at first, and then it grew on me because I think what they were going for was just like the archetype of like the 80s goth singer, and I realized they just were trying to make him look like fucking Robert Smith or like Ian Astbury from The Cult.
I thought that too, that they were trying to make him look like that in like a band, like that type of thing, but 80s. But I don't know, man. You are... I mean, maybe you're not. It feels like you're attributing some self-awareness to the director, and I don't think he had it. I think you enjoyed it despite yourself.
I don't think there's much self-awareness to the director. I think the director is a not untalented working man's guy. Like, he made the movie, all right? I think where the strength of this movie lies is the energy of the cast.
Yeah.
I love every one of the members of this fucking cast.
Yeah, I mean, I like them too. I just didn't... I don't know. It was just so fucking dumb. It was so hard to get over.
Yeah. No, but that's what I liked. It was so...
I get it.
It's the dumbest of the 4 Crow movies. And my thing with bad movies is I'd always rather them be dumb than boring.
Sure, absolutely.
Too many times people tell me to watch a bad movie, and I'm watching the movie, and I can tell what they're talking about, where, like, the story is bad, like, the plot contrivances are stupid. But, like, what I want out of a bad movie is just something off the wall, where, like, what the fuck were they thinking? And that's how I feel about this movie.
Yeah, okay.
I love it. Tito Ortiz is in Boreanaz's crew, and he's my favorite MMA guy, obviously, because he's into QAnon now. He's incredible. He's so into QAnon, bro.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
He like thinks Trump is like actually president still, and like Biden has been killed and replaced by a double.
He thinks that Biden's been killed and replaced?
He thinks that all of the Democrats are actually either dead or in Guantanamo Bay. And all the ones we see on day to day are holograms or doubles. I don't even know what that means, but yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Because they were all baby eating pedophiles. Like, they sucked their blood and then raped them and shit. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I know that, but wow, I didn't hear the body replacement thing.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Good.
And this is all going to be announced, Henry, They have a date now. It's they keep moving dates around.
Yeah,
It's,
of course.
I think it's like August 18th or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this is in line with then Trump will be reinstated?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, that's great stuff. Yeah. They're like the religious Christians who kept saying the apocalypse was going to be now this date, and then they move it forward when it doesn't happen, and then it just gets more forward again.
Yeah, but they always move it forward like 3 months, and I'm like, give yourself a bigger window. What are you doing?
I agree. They should at least do another generation so they can't say you were wrong.
Correct.
Yeah. I know.
I have a few more incredible performances I'd like to talk about in the film. Firstly, Macy Gray
God.
as Cara Mia. So off the wall. She was my LVP just because she was too loud. I don't. It's so loud.
She's very loud.
She's screaming all her lines.
She screams in Spider-Man too.
I know. Would you like to hear my MVP of the film, though? In a 3-scene performance that deserved an Oscar nomination.
I'm looking at the cast, trying to guess.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I can't. I don't know.
That's right. Executive producer of this film. Executive producer of this film. Daymond John from Shark Tank. Okay, Henry. This film opens with a credit that I never expected to see on a Crow film.
All right.
And it said, Fubu Productions presents.
Okay.
Do you know what Fubu is?
I know Fubar, but I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God. I can't believe how much of this I have to explain to you to get to the point.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Fubu is a clothing line for black people. Fubu stands for us, by us.
Okay.
Okay? The guy who founded Fubu is Daymond John, who is a mogul now, a magnate,
Okay.
And he is the token black shark on Shark Tank.
Okay.
Okay? So,
Okay.
you come into the Shark Tank and you're like, Daymond John, I'm seeking $100,000 for 10% of my business K-Disco. That's a roller disco that only plays K-pop songs. And then Damon was like, okay, what are your sales? I'm explaining Shark Tank to you right now.
I know what I mean, you don't have to go through the whole thing. I know the premise, yes, but sure.
And Damon will say, I really only I invest my money in when people come in with clothing bullshit, so I'm out. Okay. And so he's in this movie.
Really?
Yes. And
he's is he the limo driver, the hearse driver?
Yes, he is. And each time the camera shows him, it lingers on him for an uncomfortably long time because clearly Daymond John wanted a lot of screen time in this movie.
Oh, got it.
So the first time we see him, he is pushing a dead body on a stretcher with a blanket over it, or like a covering or whatever.
Yeah.
And he is eating a sandwich while he's doing that. He doesn't have any lines of dialogue. He's eating the sandwich. He stops the gurney in front of the camera for an uncomfortably fucking long time and then keeps going off screen. And that's the whole scene. And so I was like, God, that was weird. Daymond John, cool. And then I was like, oh, it's only one scene. He doesn't have any lines of dialogue. I'll give him my MVP, of course.
Sure.
And so then later in the movie, we see him driving a limo.
Right.
And the camera just lingers on him. He's not doing anything.
No.
He's smoking weed.
Yes.
Remember, he's smoking a joint and driving the limo, and he's dressed like a limo driver.
Correct.
And we just are watching this limo driving along this winding country road for like a long time. Yeah. And then the crow stops him in the street. And in Daymond John's best moment of the movie, he just gets out of the limo and goes, I'm fucking out of here. And leaves.
And then he's stranded, right, in the middle of the road. Like,
Yeah, we catch up with him a little later, and he's
Yeah,
stranded. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, fair enough. FUBU.
But
Now it sounds familiar. Like I've heard people talk around me talking about that clothing line, but yeah, I don't know shit.
you know
like
what's crazy about it though is that Damon really is about like giving opportunities to other black people. He's really amazing about that. Like he
Yeah.
often invests his money in really young black entrepreneurs. Like when like 13-year-olds come in with like an idea, he's like, "Yeah, it's a shitty idea, but you seem really smart. I'll invest
Yeah,
in you."
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But so like it seems so crazy to me that he was trying to get a film studio off the ground, fucking FUBU Productions.
Yeah,
and
that's
the
weird.
movie he'd go to make is like, you know what would have been a fucking interesting? A Black Crow.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Do that.
I mean, we got 4 white crows, 4 white male crows in a row. You know, we couldn't get a fucking. Well, at least Brandon Lee's like biracial, but
Well,
I mean,
I read actually, Henry, that in the development of this movie, they had a script called The Crow Lazarus that was going to be about a black rapper who's brought back by the Crow after a drive-by shooting.
oh, I would have taken that.
And supposedly Miramax was trying to sign Eminem, like a very young Eminem, to play the villain.
Wow.
That would have been amazing. But
Wow.
but that didn't happen. It fell through, and somehow Damon John ends up producing a movie with David Boreanaz and Tara Reid, the whitest
great.
motherfuckers ever.
Yeah, very weird. Very weird.
I don't think
What
there's a black
ethnicity
guy in
is-
this entire movie.
No, there isn't. What ethnicity is David Boreanaz? He doesn't. I didn't
white.
because that name. Well, that name is like.
I don't know. He's Irish on Buffy. Maybe that's what he is.
Well, that name is. I don't know what that name is. Sounds Hispanic. I wasn't
His
sure.
father is of Italian descent, and his mother is of half Slovak ancestry.
Okay. All right.
At the age of 7, he decided to be an actor, which eventually led him to study cinema and photography at Ithaca College. Ithaca
Oh.
College. That's what you go to if you're too dumb for Cornell.
Nice.
Whatever, still a pretty good school. All right. Anyway, so Edward Furlong kills himself and becomes the Crow. That's
He
the
doesn't
first
kill
time.
himself.
What are you talking about?
He gets hung, and then his heart.
Oh, right. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. Right. There's that scene later after he comes back to life where he doesn't want to be alive and he's trying to kill himself. That's
Right.
what I was thinking of.
Yeah,
But
no, David Boreanaz cuts his heart out, and it turns into ash.
right, and Tara Reid blinds Emmanuel Shariki.
Right, and then they put him in a refrigerator and move him into the swamp, and then he breaks out of a refrigerator and comes right back.
Yeah, it was my favorite refrigerator scene since Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
My favorite refrigerator scene since Eastern Promises when they're cutting that guy's fingers
It's
off.
my favorite refrigerator scene since Slumber Party Massacre when they locked that guy in the refrigerator.
It's my favorite refrigerator scene since Joker when he crawls inside the refrigerator.
Boo. Oh, good times.
Can I just quote
My favorite refrigerator scene since the 1986 the Chicago Bears wrapped.
Nice! Prince Perry reference. You beat me to it.
Great.
Well done. I'd like to quote Tito Ortiz, if I may.
Okay. Where we go one, we go all.
So, he called COVID-19 the flu and a form of population control.
Yeah.
Population control.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
what he's saying. Like the government did it to try and take out conservatives. It's for elections and shit. But you know what's weird about that? Like the people who say shit like that also is like so mad at China for like letting the so
Oh,
like
yeah.
if you believe that it came out of China and you think it came out of a lab or something, do you also think it was reverse engineered by like American Democrats? Like what is going on?
My party can't even get its shit together for a good branding slogan. You think we could orchestrate a fucking virus? Jesus Christ.
Speaking of branding, David Boreanaz has a lot of scars of 666 all over his body.
There's not subtlety
he's a
in this
Satanist.
movie. There's not subtlety. Satan is listening and brands him instantly with lots of tats. And then in a half hour later in the movie, he takes his shirt off. He's got none. So I don't know what happened with that. Maybe
That's not true. He takes his shirt off and he has a lot.
No, but there's another scene where he's like, his black shirt's like hanging open.
Oh,
He
yeah.
doesn't take it
Oh,
off.
you're
It's like
right.
hanging open.
Maybe they just forgot to
Staring
put
at
him on there for that scene.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Incredible stuff all around. Let me quote some stuff from this movie.
Okay.
Dennis Hopper goes, "I now pronounce you devil and his shorty."
Yeah,
and
that's
she
good.
and she goes, "I love you, Lucifer." That's Tara Reid. And
Right.
and Hopper goes, "Well, kiss the bride, motherfucker."
Yeah.
He says,
That
"He'll
was
be
good.
your homie now and forevermore." Wicked ass props to you, Mr. OG, and thanks for representing all the homeboys. These are actual lines Dennis Hopper says in this movie.
He does, folks. He does. Verbatim.
Amazing. All right.
Yeah, it really was.
I guess that's all I got.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
What was the line? It was my favorite line in the entire fucking movie. David Boreanaz says it. It's so just tossed off. He goes like, it's something like, "Pestilence, I gotta go to the bar and get something." It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, when they're at that weird party that also doesn't make sense. Like, where are you?
What party? I don't remember that.
Nah, it's like in Dennis Hopper's lair, and there's like all these people just kind of, some are sitting there like they're Satanist crazies, and then others are just kind of walking around normally. It nothing makes sense in this film. I don't know. I called it a film. Yeah.
It is a film, Henry.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This is the bottom of the barrel.
This was bottom of the barrel for you.
No, it wasn't in the rankings. No,
It's not in the rankings. That's good to know. Okay.
No.
Are you ready to do the rankings?
Yeah. Let's do the MVP, that shit first, right? Or,
Yeah. No, of course. Yeah.
Sure.
Who's your? What do you give it? 1?
1. Yeah.
I think I gotta go 2.
Hey, you found it a bad movie but entertaining, so
Yeah.
that's fair.
That's
fair. No,
who's your?
piece of shit, but-
We're both going Boreanaz for MVP.
I thought you said the Fubu guy was your
Oh,
MVP.
that's right. Yeah, I will go with him. David John. Yeah.
Yeah. Mine's David Boreanaz. My LVP's Tara Reid.
Oh, but she added so much to the film. I'm gonna go with LVP Macy Gray.
Fair.
Mhm.
Fair.
Thank you.
All right. I went with 2 white people. You went with 2 black people. It was good.
Jesus. All right, Henry.
Diversity.
Let's rank the Crow movies. 4 to, well, let's just do 1 to 4 because everyone knows 1 is The Crow.
That's the best one.
Yeah. Number 2.
First of all, they're all bad, just so you folks know.
That's not true. I think one of them is genuinely good, one of them is good, bad, and 2 of them are bad.
Okay. I think one of them's great and the other 3 suck. But in order of the ones that suck. So my order is 1, and then Crow Salvation.
So your second favorite is Crow Salvation.
Yes.
I'm going to say my second favorite. Oh, fine. You just do your list and I'll do mine.
All right.
No,
Okay.
It's yeah.
Third, Crow Wicked Prayer. Last and the worst, Crow City of Angels.
I understand. Here's my list. Number 1, The Crow. Number 2, Wicked Prayer.
Sure.
Number 3, City of Angels. Because it has theatrical production values
Jesus.
and a decent soundtrack. And
Oy.
lastly, Salvation.
Wow.
Whose only saving
Okay.
grace, as far as I'm concerned, is Dunst.
Okay. Yeah, 2 was the one that was, for me.
I mean, only watch the first one, though.
Oh, yeah.
If you're drunk with friends, I do think Wicked Prayer could be a fun night, but Like,
Yeah.
the only movie you need to watch, like, sober and, like, aware and paying attention is the first one.
Yeah, this is not a good franchise
No.
overall. I've watched
No.
the first movie.
I am glad I've seen them all now, though.
Yeah,
I
mean,
consider
for
it an
me-
achievement, so thanks to PDOT.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a bit like watching all the RoboCops because it like reinvigorated my love for the first RoboCop, and this one was a more of a discovery of like, holy shit, The Crow is a really fucking good movie. Like, so that was cool. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have probably seen it again. I mean, I might have, but I don't know.